Teachers, what is something you don't want your students to know? I teach 5th grade at a public school where most kids qualify for free lunch. The kind of place where half my students show up in the same clothes 3 days in a row because laundry costs money their families don't have. Every year I do this thing on the first day. I tell the kids to write down their favorite snack on a piece of paper, fold it up, drop it in a box. I say it's for a class party we'll have later. That's a lie. I keep that box in my desk drawer, and when I see a kid having a really bad day, I make sure that exact snack shows up on their desk the next morning, like magic. Some years it's simple. A kid writes Oreos and I grab a pack from the store for $3. Done. But this year I had a student named Marcus who wrote sushi on his paper. I almost laughed. This kid wore the same torn sneakers every single day. His backpack had duct tape holding it together, and he wrote sushi. I could have ignored it, could have pretended I never saw it. But something about that paper stayed with me. 2 months into school, Marcus started falling asleep in class. Not just tired, completely passed out by second period. When I asked if everything was okay at home, he just shrugged and said his mom was working double shifts. The other teachers told me to send him to the office for sleeping. Write him up, make an example. But I kept thinking about that paper, sushi. On Friday, I stopped at this grocery store on my way home. They had sushi in the cold section, the pre-made kind, California rolls, nothing fancy, 8 pieces for $12. I bought 1 container, felt stupid doing it. What was I thinking? That some gas station sushi would fix this kid's problems? Monday morning, I put it on his desk before anyone arrived. No note, no explanation. When Marcus walked in and saw it, his whole face changed. He looked around like he was trying to figure out if it was real. Then he sat down and ate every single piece before class started. Didn't save any for lunch, just ate it all right there like he'd been starving. At lunch, I saw him trading his free school lunch to another kid for chips. That's when I realized he wasn't eating the school food, he was giving it away. I started watching closer. Every day, Marcus would get his tray and hand it off to this smaller kid who sat alone in the corner. Then Marcus would eat nothing, just drink water from the fountain and pretend he wasn't hungry. I pulled him aside after class one day, asked him straight up why he wasn't eating. He got really quiet. Then he said his mom told him the free lunch was only for kids who really needed it, that their family could manage, so he was giving his food to someone who needed it more. His mom was too proud to accept help, and Marcus was too good of a kid to let someone else go hungry. That night I went home and did something I'd never done before. I logged into the school's lunch account system. Every teacher has access. We're supposed to use it to check if kids owe money. I found Marcus's account, 0 balance, which meant he qualified for free lunch, but his family probably didn't know they could load extra money on there, so I added $50 from my own bank account. Then I sent an automated email that made it look like the school had given him a credit for good attendance. The next week I added 50 more. Told myself it was just until his mom got caught up on bills. But I didn't stop. Every month I'd add money, not just for Marcus, for 6 other kids whose accounts were empty. I started eating less, stopped getting coffee on my way to work, canceled the streaming services I never watched anyway. It wasn't much, maybe $200 a month total, but it meant those kids could eat. Nobody knew. Not the principal, not the other teachers, definitely not the kids. Then last month the school secretary called me into the office, said there was an error in the lunch system. Someone had been adding money to student accounts, but the payments weren't showing up in the main records. My stomach dropped. I thought I was about to get fired, but she just looked confused, said it had been happening for 3 years. Thousands of dollars, all traced back to my teacher login. I started to explain, started to apologize, but she held up her hand. Then she showed me something on her computer, a spreadsheet. Every single deposit I'd ever made. She'd known the whole time. She'd been matching them, dollar for dollar, from her own paycheck. For 3 years, we'd been secretly feeding the same kids, and neither of us knew the other was doing it. She didn't say much after that, just printed out the spreadsheet and handed it to me. At the bottom, she'd written 1 sentence. Next year, we should probably coordinate better. Maybe we can help more kids. I still put snacks on desks when students have bad days. Still keep that box of favorite foods in my drawer. But now when I add money to lunch accounts, I know I'm not doing it alone. Marcus graduated last week, moving on to middle school. His mom came to the ceremony in her work uniform. She pulled me aside after and said Marcus never stops talking about my class, about how it was the first time school felt safe. She has no idea why, and I'll never tell her. Some things are better left as magic.